So I was talking to somebody about judgment. We were talking about a mutual party that we know through the same loved ones. And one of the judgments that were made in the conversation was about how, as a mother, you can't abandon your kids and da 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 da. And I was talking about how judgments are uh, something that we have hidden within us that we see within somebody else, and we're making the judgment because we don't want to face our own judgments. And as I said this to the person, they then talked about how they had an opportunity when they were younger to have a child, but they didn't go through with it because they were scared of pregnancy and all of this stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, well, there's your underlying trigger of what your judgment is. And her brain was not able to see that in the conversation, what I was referring to of, look, see how you have a similar thing in your mind that you did a certain thing, and now you are placing the judgment on other people. And now her mind just kept making, no, this is why I was saying it, and da 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 da. However, the other people in the room were able to, when I was like, you see how I told the mind it was blocking something, the mind came up and said, this is what I'm blocking. And now, even when the mind says it out loud, it's still able to block it. However, other people aren't having our same filters. So when these conversations and things are had, it's being perceived by other people. And so sometimes when we're doing and having these conversations, they're not always for the person that we're having the conversation with at the moment. Sometimes it's for the audience around us to see things and be able to reflect on their own personal life. Another thing with judgment and having mutual friends and stuff like that, humans have a tendency to tell different sides of things, deeper layers and things to the closer the people are to you. So if you're somebody like a boyfriend, a girlfriend, somebody like that, or a family member, you may get more information about something than maybe a coworker. So a coworker is probably going to get a lot more of the emotional effect of what's happening in something, where the family who's able to see more of the situation and stuff are going to get more realistic movements of what's going to happen in reality to what they're going to do, where the coworkers are a place of release for stress for the situation. So then when you have people that know the same person, you have this contradicting information and how you think somebody feels about something or whatever. And it's no, that we have different reactions to different people and tell them different things, different like depths of what we're feeling, or react differently around different people because of the difference in how we're interacting with them. And what intentions that we have in that situation. You're not going to, now maybe if your coworker is your best friend, maybe you'll go into more complex type of things, but in the usual coworker dynamic, you're usually just relieving stress off and kind of catching up each other on like brief little bits of what's going on, little pieces of things. So that doesn't always give the same clarity as people that are a little bit closer involved into the situation, or maybe have a few other people's perception on the situation that they're able to also go off of. So it's not that people are lying to us when they have contradictory information. It's that human beings are complex, and you can be upset about a situation and feel very negative about a situation and vent to somebody about that situation, and then go handle the situation more aligned with how you personally are as a human being. So say you're mad about the situation, but you're a forgiving human being. So you vent to the coworker, I'm never dealing with this again, da 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 da. And then a week later, you're back to being cool with that person. Okay, well, it's not a contradictory. It's not that the person's lying. It's that we have different ways of handling and processing things. So sometimes you have people that are going to let off steam verbally, and then they're going to act according to their character. And this is going to be contradictory if you don't understand that you're only getting the vented of the situation and not understanding the complete dynamics of the whole situation. Not everybody's going to tell the fine details of why these is happening, or why your understanding of these things, because sometimes the things that you're understanding of is personal battles that another person's gone through that you don't want to share with everybody. It's not their business to know, okay, well, I'm understanding of this because this happened to them, and stuff like that. So it's a lot of the world is not as corrupt and negative and stuff as we think. We just don't have an honest idea of what's happening here, because we don't truly stop and think about how we're acting in those moments to what's happening with us. When somebody gives us information, we love information. We want to feel like we got the whole truth, the gossip, and all of it. And so this plays a added dynamic of things where your brain got information, so it wants it to be the full information, and it creates story off of that, not thinking about the fact that you may not have all of the information in the story or the situation. Humans have, sorry, itchy hand. Humans have a tendency not just to want to believe that what they're told is the full dynamic of the situation, but then once they have painted a picture for themselves, when they get contradictory information, even if it's from the same horse's mouth that they had got the first time, it then becomes this, well, that's not what you told me. Well, no, you're not considering the fact that you got partial information, built a story in your own head, and now you're getting the corrected full information beyond the scope that you originally had, and it doesn't align with the fantasy story that you have built from the pieces of information that you had, and now you feel lied to. But the truth of the situation is your brain just filled in a bunch of information, and because it's a brain, it just does these type of things, and then you don't remember what the exact details of the story was that were told to you and what parts your brain added in, because for your brain, the story is the story, and it doesn't like having holes in stuff, so it fills in the holes in the story for itself, because brains like full stories. I don't know if you know that or not, but that's the truth. It does that. It fills in the parts that we don't know with context clues of what we think is going to be there. And so when we fill it in wrong, then we get the correction. It feels as though that correction is a lie, because our brain has already filled that information in and doesn't understand why there's a correction being made, because it doesn't understand that it filled the information in from context clues and not correct information.